Welcome to the Life Coach Lounge. I'm Angela.
I'm Lisa.
And I'm Emily.
This isn't a podcast for coaches. It's for you, for real people navigating real life. It's lighthearted, it's deep, and it's grounded in faith, friendship, and purpose.
And once a month, you can join us in our virtual Life Coach Lounge on Zoom.
So pull up a seat. The Life Coach Lounge is open.
Welcome, friends, back to the lounge. I'm Lisa, and I'm here today with my pod besties, Angela and Emily. And today I thought I am going to get real. There might be some raw moments for me, so get ready. I'm going to share a little coaching story. So I have gathered some notes from my journals, and the reason I'm sharing this vulnerable coaching experience for me is because I firmly believe that my story will resonate with others. All right, so from Lisa's journals. So this is what I want to share with everyone today. And I have never said this out loud in a public setting, only in my Marcos to my friends here. So here's my story. So I, much like many of us, have people that I have loved deeply. I don't personally have sisters, like biological sisters, but I have loved people in a way that I'm imagining this deep, like loving a sister. You know, that kind of relationship where you can finish each other's sentences or you just show up on a screen and the other person's like leans in and it's like, what's going on? You okay? What's happening? And so here's the thing. I've had two of those relationships drastically change or end completely without warning, without even real explanation, and without a conversation that allowed me to try to make sense of it. And so one was over 15 years ago, and the other one was recently, like within the past year. And the thing is, I have grieved both deeply and honestly, and also still am. But what I didn't do, and what I can clearly see now, is that I never let go of my guilt. So that story of guilt that I perfectly curated, hoping it would give me closure, and what is making me feel kind of a nudge to share this story on the podcast today is two things. One, I am on screen with two people that I feel super safe and comfortable speaking with. And also, a coach recently said to me, what if this guilt was never yours to carry? And I was like, what? Okay, so that was over a month ago. I'm still feeling that in my bones. And I realized that I have been living inside a story in my brain that I wrote to fill a void, like to fill the silence that someone else left. And so that is what we're going to talk about today. So buckle up, everyone, because I guarantee there's somebody else who is going to say, ooh, I think this might be my story too. So like I said, I couldn't feel more safe and happy than to be here with Angela and Emily because they're my people. And I know they are going to have a lot of words of wisdoms for our listeners today. So let's just pour right into it. So I set us up, ladies. You are not new to that story I just shared from my journals. You've heard about it in bits and pieces in the Marcos. But I am curious because I think this is a story that a lot of us can tell ourselves. We can pick up something whether it's guilt, shame, or some other big emotion that really isn't ours to carry around for as long as we do. So, my question to the two of you is, have you ever carried guilt over a relationship that ended without explanation? And if the answer to that is no, the second part of that question is then, or have you ever realized that at some point the story that you've been telling yourself was total BS? And you're like, what just happened?
Yeah, that never happened to me. I'm just kidding. Of course, we all have. And I think the first thing that comes up for me is usually there is blame that comes first. I feel like our knee jerk, I'll just speak for me, my knee jerk is blame first. What they are doing is wrong. What they are doing is hurting me. And when the blame runs out, there might be a sense of responsibility that comes up, either real, something that you do need to take responsibility for, or a false sense of responsibility. And then that blame has nowhere to go but inward. And so then that's where that guilty feeling comes from.
Yeah, I think for me, I don't recall ever really blaming the other person. I recall more a sense of a deeper people pleasing aspect where I'm like, what did I do? How can I fix it? How can I make it better? Like, even not knowing, I still, well, I guess there's blame, right? There you go, right? That's my own internal blame, telling myself I did something wrong, even though I don't know what it is. And therefore, how do I fix it? I just want to fix it.
The way I see it is that is actually shame. So in our coaching certification, I remember us hearing a teaching on you normally like if there's going to be confusion, right? If somebody leaves your life or stops communication with you for no reason, I feel that the first emotion I would feel is confusion, maybe some abandonment, but definitely confusion, which is not a positive emotion. It's more the negative category. And so what we learned was there's usually two camps that people default to: blame or shame, right? So blame, I think they can both be there, but depending on your personality, I know for me, what you said, Lisa, that's exactly what happens for me. Shame is the belief that something is wrong with me. So I would interpret that as, oh, I'm not likable. I failed somehow in the relationship. I didn't show up the way they expected me to, like finding all the reasons that I did something wrong or there's something wrong with me, which is also not a good feeling. So I believe both blame and shame are there. And of course, the guilt is all over that as well. But it kind of leaves you in a stuck position of, again, that confusion.
I'm recognizing the more I have been coached on the topic, the more I have journaled about the topic, that, I mean, grief is not just the loss of someone else, right? Like, grief is the loss of anything, and also the loss of it, quote unquote, air quotes, just being completely different than it was. Like, something can actually still be there and not technically be lost, but it's not the way it was. Grieving that, one is over 15 years ago. Like, I'm still carrying that around. That grief has not gone away. It's changed, it's ebbed and flowed. But the thing that I'm noticing is the deeper work that I'm doing now, 15 years later, is showing up. It's kind of popping up in those other things that my body is responding to as grief, but it's not the exact same scenario. It's just the feeling is the same. So then my brain takes me right back to, okay, let's pick up that heavy backpack again and let's go down memory lane of all the things, like, and it's just not necessary. It's so not necessary.
It's so important to notice that that backpack that we've been filling for that long, you've like you said, this was 15 years ago. I have relationships also that even farther back in my life than that. I didn't realize I was stuffing all kinds of blame, shame, guilt, grief into this heavy backpack and then also picking it up. I didn't know enough to realize that that's what I was doing. I just internalized it, and then that stayed with me and how I showed up in future relationships. So now being more aware that that's maybe what I was doing and that didn't actually do me any good. Now we can start to unpack it and see what's there and notice, like you were saying, at some point where you was the story that you're telling yourself, wasn't actually true. And now I can see it from a different lens and really ask those questions. Is what I've been believing about myself true? Is what I've believed about this relationship true? And you can start to get perspective on it. But I mean, default is default for a reason. You don't realize you're doing it until you can gain perspective in a different scenario.
Like I was just explaining, I'm recognizing that my brain is looking for evidence in other circumstances. When I'm feeling a loss or grief in some way, it's taking me right back to like deeper grief, of feeling of deep loss. And the two are connected and yet not connected. And my brain is looking for every piece of evidence to be like, see, this is your fault. How are you going to fix this? So what you got for me?
What I got for you is
Tell me all the things.
The coaching model. It's important for all of us to separate facts from thoughts. When you are saying that you've made up a story without any evidence, so what is the fact? Maybe the fact is my friend stopped communicating, stopped responding to my calls and texts. Like, get as factual as possible with what the fact is. And then really dig through your journals or through communication with a coach or a spouse or a friend. What comes up? What are the thoughts that are coming up? So I don't know what your thought was, but I'll make one up. You talked about loss. Maybe it's everyone leaves me. And then how do I feel? Guilty. The guilt is not coming from the friend stopping communication. The guilt is coming from, like you said, the story, the thoughts. Everyone leaves me. Everyone always leaves. Whatever the thought is, that's connected to the grief and the loss and the guilt. When I'm feeling that way, how do I act or react or not act in action? And just pay attention to that. And what are you creating for yourself in your life? And usually, if you follow the coaching model through, the result that you have in your life is directly related to that thought. It's a really powerful tool. And if I was coaching you, I'm sure we could pull more than one coaching model out and analyze it together.
You weren't too far off when you picked okay, so I'll pick one. I mean, there are many honestly. I have many thoughts. But the one closest to what you just made up is it's me. When I invest in a friendship with someone and it ends for whatever reason, the common thread is me. So therefore, I am the problem. When that's the story I've created, that's my thought. And when I do run it through a coaching model like you just suggested, I can recognize that there's so many holes to that story. It's that whether it's 15 years ago and I've been carrying it this long, and then something else happens, then my brain can easily be like, "Oh, see, told you. I told you you were the problem." That type of thought, when our brain shows up loud with what the brain thinks is supporting evidence, but the evidence is not actually true. We just believe it to be so. And that is the piece that, again, after all these years, that I am now recognizing that that's the guilt that I don't have to carry. I mean, if I had different kinds of evidence in this scenario, then I might feel a little differently. But until the coach asked me that question, I was like, oh, well, what if that is true? What if I have been literally just carrying around this weight with me and then transferring it, transferring this thought to other circumstances and that are not even related.
Well, let's talk about guilt and shame. When we're feeling guilt and shame, usually the action we take is hiding. We hide our true selves. We hide in our homes. We don't go out. We don't make friendships. And so, like I said, the result that's created kind of reinforces that belief, that thought that's become a belief that, oh, look at, I'm the common denominator here. I don't make friends easy, whatever it is. It just kind of becomes this loop because guilt and shame is causing us to hide.
Right. And potentially, in my case, not showing up authentically in other relationships.
Hiding a piece of yourself, right?
Yeah.
Hiding not all of you maybe, but a piece of yourself, like changing yourself, not showing up fully because you feel that that's too much or that's going to be rejected, or so it doesn't even have to be you're hiding from everyone and everything. It's just hiding in a way where you're not showing up as the
Exactly.
full
Yeah.
you.
No, that's really eye-opening when you say that, because if I run that through the cycle and through the lens of what is true, yes, I can absolutely see where there are relationships over the last couple decades that I might be bridling a little bit of parts of me, because subconsciously I'm like, oh, don't screw that up. Like, you got a good thing going here, so don't wreck it. Yeah, you're right.
So relatable.
It is very.
So one thing I had in my journal was the living sacrifice from Romans 12:1, where it says, "Therefore I urge you, brothers and sisters, in view of God's mercy, to offer your bodies as a living sacrifice, holy and pleasing to God, this your true and proper worship." And in doing that, it has helped me to recognize some of the things that you've just both pointed out, as well as a reminder to myself when I'm subconsciously and consciously gritting my teeth is to just surrender it. Like it is not mine to hold on to. Just lay it down. And this isn't a one time thing. Like I have to remind myself to do this often. Because, like I said, like something else will pop up in my brain. I'll be like, oh, told you so. And I'll be like, no, no. Like it's a conversation that sometimes gets a little, the banter gets a little much and loud, but I have to remember it is not mine to carry. I can surrender this over and over and over again.
When I think of sacrifice, so I'm reading Brene Brown's book right now, Daring Greatly.
Great
and
book.
It's about vulnerability and shame. And the word sacrifice to me kind of stands out as that vulnerability piece. To be vulnerable is the foundation of connection with ourselves and connection with others. And you're right, you have to do it over and over and over. It's not easy. It takes time. It doesn't feel great when you're not used to being vulnerable. I mean, sometimes it feels like I would rather peel my skin off than have this conversation or say how I'm really feeling about something. It's not easy. But I love that verse that you brought up. This is your true and proper worship. I really do believe that.
God made each of us in his image in a unique way. Every single person reflects the image of God in only the way that they can. And so that true and proper worship is reflecting who he made us to be in our true selves, showing up in all the love and uniqueness that he made us to be. And that doesn't mean, don't take this the wrong way, listeners, this is not be yourself. Everyone else just has to tolerate who you are and say what you want. That's not what I'm saying. As a believer in the Lord Jesus, letting God mold and shape you to be your true self with your identity based in him.
Yes.
And then showing up without hiding any piece of that. That's our true and proper worship to the Lord, because we get to reflect our Creator instead
Very
of
good.
hiding the pieces that we decided maybe are making other people upset or whatever the story is that we tell ourselves. So, yeah, great verse.
So if someone's listening right now and maybe they're nodding their head as hard as the three of us are and their neck is hurting a little bit, what can we share with them to actually do? Kind of like a call to action. What is something simple? It's likely going to be a reminder from previous podcasts because, again, like I said earlier, this is not a one and done. Like the work is consistency, and it's work for a reason and it matters, but you have to put in the reps. So, Emily, what piece of practical tools can you kind of give to our listener that maybe we haven't already mentioned if someone is feeling similar to the things that I've been sharing today?
I wonder if we say this on every podcast, but the first thing that came to mind for me was feel the emotions. If you're resonating with what we're saying and you're realizing you've been believing something about yourself, about a relationship, about another person, and you're coming face to face with it, it's probably going to bring up some very uncomfortable emotions. That's okay. Allow it. Allow it to be there. Cry if you need to. Grieve whatever it is, whether it was like in your situation, Lisa, a friendship that just disappeared. Of course, that's going to bring up emotions. So don't skip past the feeling part of it and allow yourself the time and the space and the permission even to just feel it. And then after that, then you can start to journal, maybe talk with somebody about it, really start to take a look at what's there. And then the next step, I think, after that is deciding what you want to do with it. But emotions are bound to come up in these kinds of situations.
Sure. I'm a testament right here today to grief has no timeline. Like there's not a beginning and an end. It's different for everyone. And the other part of that is if you stuff it, if you compartmentalize it, it's still going to make itself known. Somehow, some way, it's going to come knocking. So yeah, I love that, Emily, to just fully feel it every time it comes up, especially when it's something as major as what we're talking about today, because the feelings are going to be such a wide range of emotions. It's not just going to be maybe sadness or something that feels obvious. It could be rage. It could be love for what you had, and like it could be the gamut of all the emotions. So yeah, fully feel it. Angela, what would you suggest? What's the one thing that stands out to you?
What stands out to me is that repeated thoughts become beliefs. And when we have a belief system, our brain is wonderful at proving our beliefs are true. And so it will look for evidence. And so when we have a belief, for example, if we believe in God, everywhere we go, we see God's hand at work. If we believe we're the problem in relationship problems, our brain will look for evidence of that. And so it just goes, you just, like you said earlier, oh, yep, there it is again. Yep, it's me. That happened again. Oh, my fault. And then the guilt comes. So put a wrench in the wheel. Ask yourself, what if the opposite is true? What if instead of the problem, what if I'm the catalyst for new relationships? What if I'm the solution to repairing a relationship? Where in my life do I have relationships that have never ended? I have long lasting relationships. Train your brain to start looking for that evidence and create that new belief system for yourself.
Yeah, so good. And mine is going to be how I started this podcast, which is just going to be a gentle reminder to get support, however that looks for you. You do not have to carry this alone. Like, seek wisdom from your friends. And I mean like support. I don't mean just like go listen to the venting and the episode where you're just like all like, yeah, that person, she's awful. How dare she treat you that way? Like, of course we need that too. But I mean the support that either coaching or pastoral support or therapies that can give you the safe space that you need, that space that allows you to, I mean, safe space is kind of an overused two words, but that space that allows you to recognize I don't have to do this alone, and the other person is willing to listen to everything I say without judgment and just hear me, so that then you can actually hear yourself too, which is so important. Friends, let me tell you, you both are such a blessing to me. And even though you were talking about, Angela, how like you just like never know like how another person is like feeling with their vulnerability, like what Brene Brown is like sharing underneath, like, listeners, this might be too much TMI, but believe me, my throat today felt constricted. Like, I don't know if I want to be this vulnerable. I applied so much deodorant before this episode, and yet I feel like it didn't really work. So vulnerability is not a weakness, friends. It is a true strength. So you don't have to keep living inside an explanation someone else might have handed to you. And if you're carrying something that was never yours to carry, we're giving you full permission to lay it down. So if this is kind of hitting close today for any of our listeners, please share this episode with someone who you think might need to hear it. We would love it. Always, if you leave a review, drop a comment, let us know you were here. And if you're sitting with something heavier than a podcast episode can hold, remember the three of us all have our own coaching practices, and we would love to work with you one-on-one. And if you want to keep the conversation going, you know where to find us. Go click that link in the show notes and come over to our private Facebook group. The lounge is a great place to come and hang out. So until next time, I will see you two ladies in the Marcos, and everyone else, we will see you next Tuesday.